Aliens, spirits, bananas, and schlongs. Welcome to Moon's Manga. This is my very first video, and if you found me, hello. Please like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts. DanDaDan is the most bizarre manga that I've read. It's my third one. So first, we learn of the two main characters. You have Momo Ayase, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, and then you also have Oculate-kun. Shortly after being introduced, they get into an argument about spirits and UFOs. Oculate-kun does not believe in spirits, and Momo does not believe in UFOs. Man, oh man. So after that, they then dare each other to go to these certain spots where UFOs and spirits are known to be. Whoever proves the other one is real has to serve as their servant, and to do that, Momo goes to the hospital, and Oculate goes to this haunted tunnel. Oculate does claim to be abducted by UFOs, and Momo, her grandma's a spirit medium. As Occult was listening to Momo explain, a spirit shows up in front of Oculate and says, "I'll let you suckle my teats if you let me gobble your schlong." There's the panel. The panel is right there. The panel's right there. So I'm not lying to you. This is serious. This is my within 5 pages. This is ridiculous. We learned that the spirit name in the tunnel is Turbo Granny, and Oculate bolted it out the tunnel. I would too, rightfully so. We then see 3 men standing in front of Momo, and she tries to run away, but she is then captured, stripped naked, and honestly, this the panel's right there. This manga is fucking crazy. Why is it top 10? Who's reading this? We then learn that the 3 men were the alien species called Serpions. I'm gonna call them Serps. They're called Serps. Listen, fuck it. Can't blame me. Is it racist? Who knows, right? They like to evolve because they're all men species. They're just cloned, and then they would like to evolve and use Momo to evolve through reproduction because she's a woman. Turbo Granny then barges in and rips off the Serp's schlong, which is like a robotic thing. You know, you see the panel. But it turns out that Occult is in slight control. The Serps then transform into the actual form, demanding Momo's banana organ. Don't know what the fuck that is. I've read the whole volume at this point. Don't know what that is. And also, if you want to see me read all the volumes, I'll be streaming right on this channel. We'll read a volume of a manga about 2 to 3 times a week, and then also play some games after. It's a really good time, so subscribe with the notification bell. After the little skirmish, Momo remembers conversations with her grandma, remembering what her grandma taught her to control her chi, something like this. And then imagine like a beam of light. There's the panel, you see the panel. It's right there. That's to control her chi or chakra, they call it. I think they call it chakra. I don't know. I could be wrong. After she remembers that conversation and mimics it, she then breaks out of her captivity using her newfound powers and kicks the fuck out of the Serp. Rightfully so, you know what I'm saying? You gotta fuck them up, right? I'm on her side on this. Yeah, fuck up the Serps for doing that sick shit. Turbo Granny then attacks Momo, and she blasts the spirit out of Occult. As Turbo Granny's being blown away, she says she still has Oculate Schlong. Again, why? This is all in chapter 1 for real. But I guess you can't hide who you are. You can't hide your true colors, right? But as Turbo Granny saying that she still has Occult Schlong, he needs to come to the tunnel and get that back. He need to get his Schlong back, right? I mean, as a guy, you need to get your schlong back, alright, Occult. For the time being, Momo has to keep Occult's curse in check using her powers, and we learned that Occult's actual name is Ken Tatakura. Now, Ken Tatakura is fucking Momo's ex-boyfriend, who we learn about in the first couple pages of the chapter, and it looks nothing like Occult. So I'm also fucking confused, as Momo is, but it's kind of like, whoa, okay, all this in the first chapter, really got the story going. Momo refuses to accept that Occult's actual name is Ken, and says that Occult's actual name Ken is off limits, and they refer to Ken as Okarun. Don't know where the fuck Occult came from, but it was on the the phone. So now we're gonna be calling occult Okuran. I just wanted to cover the story up to that point. Then they go home to Momo's place, and while walking in, Ken is set on fire. It's like, damn, my man can't catch a break. He don't got his fucking schlong. He just saw UFOs, and they try to kill him, and it's crazy shit, you know. And now he's set on fire, right after being cursed. Again, he's going through it. We then see that there's a barrier for evil spirits that sets them ablaze after walking past it at Momo's place, and that's to keep all the evil spirits away. And you know, Turbo Granny has he has Turbo Granny curse. He's an evil spirit, right? As they get inside. After they get inside and talk some, they hear a chime at the door, and Momo exclaims that is a chime only for evil spirits because she did take down that barrier, so they are able to get in. They go check things out, and when they go outside, it appears that they are walled in. There's a black mist that causes their nose to bleed, and shortly after, a huge spirit appears that demands the organs. Again, what's with organs, bananas, and schlongs? What's with this, right? Right, he appears to be in sumo position, so I mean, hey, loving the culture. Momo tells Okuran that the spirit is a flatwoods monster, and they choose to fight it. She then manages to allow Okuran to use Turbo Granny powers using this nice fire design that also makes him depressed, sad, but hey, I mean, if you want to become that strong, you have to have a setback, you know. After chopping off some of the Flatwoods monster's fingers, Okuran then starts to throw up and then gets struck by the monster. Due to the speed of Turbo Granny's powers, his body cannot keep up. It feels like he's going to burst in pieces. Fucking crazy. Momo realizes that he is fighting undergrounds of sumo, so she assumes that all they need to do is get his hands to touch the ground, and then he'll be dead, or I don't know, he'll lose the sumo game. After Okuran blasts the monster's leg off, he regenerates and slams Momo into the wall, and then he spam switches Momo, which then she takes advantage of because she's behind the gate. Forgot what it's called. Damn. The twirly. See, yeah, that's why I didn't say it. The twirly, which is kind of like this gate. And then she puts the barrier down, which then kills the spirit, and Momo passes out from exhaustion. And then we end off chapter 2 with Turbo Granny taking over Okuran. Because Momo is asleep. Didn't mean that, but she is fucking asleep. So we start off chapter 3 from what it looks like to be an interview with this hooded and masked woman. And she seems to be predicting this man's life. We then learn that the masked person's name is Santa Dodoria. Hopefully I said that right. Who's Momo's grandma. And personally, I really like her character. She's dope. Love her design. And it's a drawing, but she's low-key bad. Anyways. So, she then gets into a taxi. She tells the taxi driver to drop her off at this random field just so he doesn't get fucking killed, because apparently she senses something. We then cut back to Momo and Turbo Granny, and Turbo Granny's just grabbing Momo's leg, just, you know, got her spread eagle and shit. It's, again, at this point we know the manga, we're about 3 chapters in, so her grandma appears to set Turbo Granny on fire, and we see Dodoria's full design, and this lady's badass. I mean, look at this shit, yo. Look at it. We see she has a barrier around her, and if an evil spirit crosses, they're set on fire. Alright? Then Dodoria proceeds to beat the brakes off Turbo Granny and then set her ablaze in protection of fucking Momo, because that is what she's like. I fucking love this character. I hope she doesn't die soon, because there were some death flags towards the end of the volume, and I don't like that. I just met her, you know. I don't want her to die. We then see Momo wake up very concerned about Okuran, and then she finds her grandma downstairs. She's chilling, watching TV, being the badass that she is. And then Momo starts asking her questions. Hey, where's Okuran? Or Well, where's the guy with glasses? Did you see evil spirit? Etc. etc. So then we get to see more a bit into the trauma of Momo and her grandma. And then Dodoria says, I'm a phony spirit medium, aren't I? Remember? Momo then genuinely apologizes, tells Dodoria everything that happens, and then fucking Dodoria tells Momo to look into the main shrine. We see Okaran, he's chilling, super relieved. Okaran is super relieved that Momo's okay. Dodoria does come up and explains more that his curse will activate in the shrine for some unknown reason, and we learn that she doesn't believe in UFOs. Won't you look at that, right? The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Momo then tries to explain that UFOs are real and she has powers now. And then we learn about Turbo Granny, and Dodoria tells us about the legend of Turbo Granny. She was also known as the 100 km/h Granny. And also she is merged with the bound spirit in the tunnel. Dodoria tells Momo to go back to her regular life, and she says no, she wants to help because that's what her ex-kin would do, not Okaran, her ex-kin. And then Dodoria explains to lift the curse, they have to beat Turbo Granny in a race to outside city limits without getting caught, and that just seems absolutely impossible right now. In order to beat Turbo, they have to train to get stronger and faster so Okaran can beat Granny and use her powers without limits. And of course, Dodoria is the sensei. Hey, Dodoria is the sensei, baby. Let's go. At the end of the chapter, we learned that Dodoria's predictions were spot on with the guy that she was interviewing, which kind of gives her that credibility, you know? So, Dodoria chapter. Fucking love that, right? Chapter 4 then starts off with Okaran needing to shit. I'm telling the truth. And that he can't without being turned into Turbo Granny, which is, it's like, fuck, you know what I'm saying? I gotta shit, but I don't want to turn into this fucking monster. Also, he doesn't piss. Recording it, looking at the script, I'm like, hold up. He doesn't piss, but his schlong is gone, so that's why. You know, he don't got nothing to piss out of. But it all comes out his butt. Anyways, of course, Momo doesn't want to watch Okaran take shit, so the Dodoria tries to get Momo to grab auras without looking at the person, and we learn everything, including rocks, have auras. We then go back to Okaran. We then go back to when Okaran and Momo were on a UFO, and Momo was explaining how she felt invincible. Momo then tries to grab auras with her eyes closed, and it doesn't work, right? Right. However, Okaran has the shit and books it to the bathroom, not caring if he transformed. All of them then race to the bathroom. Okaran makes it, thankfully, and Dodoria's nose starts to bleed, and then we see that she is frozen with Turbo Granny appearing. Turbo says through Okaran that she can curse to death anyone she sees and demands her to come to the tunnel tonight. It's not good because they're not trained, and my man's just trying to shit. Momo tells Dodoria what happened, and she gives them outfits to ward off evil spirits. Okay, it looks alright, you know. It looks pretty good. Japanese culture is 100% on point. I really enjoy it in this manga. Okaran and Momo decides to head off to the tunnels, and as Momo's leaving, Dodoria stops her and hugs her and says, "Don't get killed, okay?" Showing that Dodoria actually does care about Momo, and that she's not cold-hearted. You know, she's not someone that's cold-hearted. So I really love that part of her. And here we are at the end of the volume, chapter 5. So chapter 5 starts off at the tunnel with Okaran and Momo preparing themselves to what's coming. They go over the plan, and then they begin to go in. As they enter, they As they enter, they see Turbo's hid on both sides of their points of view. Momo tries to attack with bats they brought, and Turbo catches the bats with teeth in her eyes and tanks the rest. Turbo returns Okra and Schlong, and then goes to eat them. So at least he gets his last few moments with his Schlong. You know, I like that. At least he got his Schlong back, right? He can piss again. Momo, in the moment, challenges Turbo to a race and sets the condition. Count out 10 minutes and then come get them. Turbo starts counting, but she is counting inconsistently. 1, 2, 3, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes. She says that Momo didn't tell her how to count it as she was going to get Okra, and he exclaims, "Let me suckle your teats," and he bites her on her fucking teats. As Okra is biting her, she can't summon any of her strength. Turbo then possesses Okra with her spirit form, and Momo begins grabbing her aura, stopping the control of Turbo. Then the bound spirit comes after them, and they book it out the tunnel. You know, it's a running theme. When we see something that's too strong, you fucking run. So, all in all, that was volume 1 of this enjoyable, funny manga. It's packed with good humor, and honestly, if you don't get offended too fast, it's good. I understand why it's top 10. It's just a little bit strange, and I figured it's gonna be strange throughout the rest of the time. So, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. Tell me your favorite parts of the DanDaDan Manga, or what I should be preparing myself for, or any future manga you would want me to read in the future. And again, I also do stream, so subscribe, post notifications on. You'll get notified every time I go live. And yeah, as a thank you, manga pan over Shalom. Y'all have a great one. Peace.